Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here, and today I want to be talking to you all a bit about the state of Destro Demo and AF, single target-wise in 10.2 PTR. Over the past few weeks, there's been a handful of changes to Demonology's tier. AF got some gluttony changes. Destro still sort of Destro, but I want to compare their damage playing different builds, I guess for some specs, if they are relevant, in single target, and talk about the profiles, where they're good, where they're bad in the raid, and then just go from there. There's not going to be any AoE in this video because the AF tier set is still bugged, so until they fix that, I'm going to hold off making that video. Whenever they do, we'll look at that, and it will likely be a big buff to AF's AoE, buffing 3 seeds, well, instead of 1. Like always, WeCore's add-ons, if you want them, links to Twitch and Discord down below, all for free for you guys. At the same time, once again, the 10.2 Warlock PTR spreadsheet is now live on Patreon, if you'd like access to that. The Tier 3 Fellow rank or higher gets that, and there should be a link up here, as well as down below if you want to support or check it out in general. And yeah, I really appreciate it. So that being said, let's get right into it. Alrighty, so off the bat, we're going to be playing Affliction here. Now, Affliction really only has one build. There's like sort of two. But it's the gist of it revolves around playing Soul Rot, either a point or 2, and Soul Eater's Gluttony. The change last week, the Gluttony makes it a flat 15 or half-minute cooldown reduction on Soul Rot, giving you a perfect sync with 2 points here to Vile Taint and 1 point here to Singularity. Besides that, playing Dread Touch, Haunt, Dark Lair, all stuff here. Dark Lair is pretty bad without like Visionary and things. It is what it is. Probably still your best option here, either way, by a little bit. It needs buffs, but you know, just is what it is. Like I said, there's another build you can play, playing 1 point or playing a point in Singularity over Vile Taint, and playing 1 in Gluttony, like a point in Visionary. But I'm pretty sure this is just better, Vile Taint and 2 in Soul Eaters, because your tier bonus revolves around casting Soul Rot. Making Soul Rot half a minute instead of a minute gives you literally twice the amount of Soul Rot or tier bonus procs and just value by playing half-minute Soul Rot, right? A lot of fights is raid tier as well. Nara Root, sort of like, I guess, Agira in a sense. Smolderon, Tindral either have damage amps or shields that can be broken on them. AF having a half-minute cooldown, actually pretty strong. Also means good PI target, 2-minute sync, all that kind of stuff. There we go. We're going to play Pips and Ashes for every build here unless I indicate otherwise, of every spec. It'll change it for Demonology, but for simplicity's sake, there's that. I'm not going to pot any of this because I don't want to record 10 different times over and over potting things. But either way, we'll compare damage in the end and go from there. So, opening up here, going to precast a Haunt, Unstable Affliction, Agony, Corruption, Siphon Life, and we're going to drain for Shadow's Embrace right here. 1, 2, 3. Vile Taint, Soul Rot, Trinket. I would potion there if I had one, but I'm not popping any. And begin Rapturing. Now, you want to pray for like a proc crescendo in your opener here, or Nightfall proc, something like that. Didn't get any. Pretty unfortunate. That's my life lately. Either way, keep Rapturing here. Not a lot of procs in the opener, so gotta play crescendo for sort of close to the chest here. Actually got 2 there, so I'll dump those. Watching Dread Touch here. Now, the cool thing, just pay attention to my Vile Taint and Soul Rot here. They're literally off cooldown right now, and they sync up perfectly. Based on how I cast them a minute ago. It's a perfect sync, right? That half-minute cooldown on both feels great. It makes AF just flow so much better when it comes to basically every setting, whether it's Mythic Plus, whether it's single target, AoE. It just feels so much better having that sync that we haven't had previously. Now, at the same time, playing the old version of Gluttony where Soul Rot was like a 35-ish second cooldown, gave you this odd window of your Dark Lair being somewhere around like, roughly like a 225-ish cooldown, just because of that weird Soul Rot not necessarily being half a minute exactly kind of, you know, cooldown, right? The Gluttony changes all that. Feels much better. You just keep casting Raptures to maintain Dread Touch, all that. Once again, about 10-ish seconds here, I'll have Vile Taint and Soul Rot. Look at my Dark Lair. 40 seconds left. Almost a perfect sync, right? Sitting at about 110k, which is roughly about average from what I've seen here, testing without pots and everything, in single targets. Fresh as Siphon Life, that, going to Vile Taint, Soul Rot, Rapture, catch that, why not? Hope for a proc, we got 2 procs, sick, dump these. And the cool thing here, like I said, look at my Dark Lair, and look at my Vile Taint, Soul Rot. They're basically synced almost perfectly, giving you that really strong, just 2-minute profile, larger Raptures, dot extensions every 2 minutes, and no longer that weird, like, oh, it's like a, you know, 225-ish cooldown, which makes PI timings awkward, everything else awkward. 2-minute damage profile is a little eh. This feels much better. So we're going to go into a Vile Taint, into a Soul Rot, right into a Dark Lair, Trinket. I'm going to hold the Haunt because, once again, the tier bonus does indeed extend Haunt as well. You can see it being pushed there. Drain a bit here. Rapture a little bit. Some procs there, which is nice. Refresh the Haunt now. We're sitting at about 112, 113k roughly. give or take. And for the most part, AF's pretty consistent, right? You're not gonna like, there are some peaks and valleys based around your crits with Rapture and like, you know, like these, I guess, high RNG settings if you crit a bunch in your opener with like, you know, potion and trinkets and all that. But for the most part, I've seen AF sustain right around like 110, 115k, roughly-ish, about 117 here, in more sustained single target. So we'll call AF about 115k, roughly, give or take. Rapture being a large portion here, max one being 305k. I've seen 550 on this one before. Once again, depends on crits in your opener, crits with Soul Rot and all that, but you're casting Soul Rot literally half a minute every single time. Good sync on Vile Taint, Soul Rot, good sync with Dark Glare. UA being here, Drain Soul, Agony, Soul Rot, Corruption, Vile Taint, and for the most part, it's a pretty similar AF breakdown to what we've seen in the past. Rapture's your main spender, it is what it is, but having that strong profile, those large Rapture damage amps basically every half minute, also very strong heading into Emergicil on a handful of fights, and I think AF's being slept on a little bit, especially after the demo changes slash, I guess, nerfs to Hatred in the tier set. Let's look next at Destro. So, Destruction in single target. Off the bat, we're going to have pretty much permanent flashpoint here in single target. I can't do anything about it. I'm not going to make a macro to cancel it every time because you want it for the certain, like the first part of the fight. It is what it is. Have to apply logic and say, okay, Destro's higher here, but I have permanent flashpoint. So think about that. We're looking at the numbers here. Besides that, this is the build that I've played for the most part in single target. It's 2-minute build. If you want 3-minute build, you can just pull this point and put it here and double burn to ashes. This build's a little higher, but depends on the damage profile of the fight, all that. You can indeed play Soulfire, Decimation, and Ruin. I've seen this build over this being, I think, like a few hundred DPS higher. If that's the case, you just play Conflagration everywhere, at least in my opinion, but we'll see where it goes. Also, this tier, a handful of good Soulburn fights. Now, a lot of Destro's damage also depends on Rift RNG. At times, you get multiple procs back-to-back, giving you free Rifts from your tier set. At times, you get none. It's feast or famine at times. But, yeah, so let's open up here. We're going to precast and incinerate. Pet's ready to go. Precast and incinerate into an immolate. I'm going to conflagrate, put the Vernal down, open a rift, pop my trinket, cast a bolt, open 2 more rifts. Well, I'll rift, cast a bolt, then rift again. Don't want to overcap. And honestly, this is basically Destro. It's not incredibly complicated. Madness is gone now. There is the like Eradication, which gives you like a bit of a damage amp window you want to watch a little bit. Like pop rifts when Eradication's up and all that kind of stuff. But besides that, this is Destro, man. You just build shards, immolates, incinerates, conflagrates, cast chaos bolts, and just do damage. When it comes to single target, Destro's not bad. It's, I would say, pretty close to AF, but varying damage profiles, right? Destro has that 2-minute window with Crashing Chaos and your Infernal. It does big damage. 1 Rift reset right there as well. It does big damage with your Infernal. The next 8 Chaos Bolts, right? Then outside of that, it sustains a bit, but it's not like it's incredibly impressive. AF has half a minute Soul Rot windows. So if you want those damage amps more often, a great example of varying damage profiles being basically half a minute with larger cooldowns every 2 minutes, being AF, or Destro having 2-minute Infernal. Besides that, a relatively flat, you know, generic damage profile. But at the same time, both are relatively close in single target, which means, you know, tuning-wise, did a pretty decent job. So now we're sitting around 130k here. Once again, keep in mind, permanent flashpoint here. This thing's at 100% health. It's not going to move. Flashpoint will drop at 80% on a mob, so we're not going to have whatever amount of haste I have right now. I think it's like 35% or 40. What do I have right now? I have, well, okay. I have more, but I mean, either way, it won't be that high. Whenever these procs end up falling and things, whatever's procking now, yeah, my Lariat proc and things. It's less than that. I'm wearing a Lariat for both specs, to be fair, but I mean, you know, whenever flashpoint and things fall, I'll actually cancel for a second here. I go from 49 to 33, and it stacks back up again. So, permanent flashpoint here overall, I mean, it's about 10k higher than AF, roughly. Once again, got to factor that in. At the same time, certain fights you can sort of leverage flashpoint with ad spawning, all that. 2 minutes is up, casting Infernal, popping Trinkets, and here come the big bolts again. Bolt, for a free bolt, sick, bolt, bolt, machine gun and a chaos bolts come out. And I mean, like for the most part, it's just Destro. It's how it's been for a long time. I often find myself, I'm talking about Destro and like hitting a dummy on stream, literally staring off into oblivion, just builder spender. I played this version of Destro for literally 15 years now. Same thing. Immolate, Incinerate, Conflagrate, Chaos Bolts. That's pretty much it. But on a glass half full next tier, Destro's, I guess, arguably more mobile, because Madness is gone, you've got Chaosbringer instead. You're likely playing Conflagration Chaos, which gets you Shadowburn passively, which a handful of fights like Igira, Tindral, if you play it there for whatever reason. Some other ad-based fights, maybe Laradar, have some Shadowburn relevancy, so there's a possibility there. Now, the big thing I talked about as well is that dimensional rifts. There's times you get resets back to back to back on these, and times you get nothing at all. The big rift being the Flame Rift is the best one you want to roll. They're all RNG. I believe it's the Flame Rift followed by the Chaos, or the Flame Rift followed by the little green, like, I guess, Bolt Rift, and the purple one, and the big Chaos Bolt one is the worst one. Got a refund there as well. There's been times I've literally procced rifts, like refunds, back to back to back off 3 different immolate ticks. I don't think there's any kind of like hidden ICD on it. I don't think really even any RNG. It's just like, yo, if it procs, great. If not, well, you know, it is what it is. I'm going to stop in a second here after this Infernal, roughly. We're sitting at about 123k here going into my Infernal. I'll make a note of that before we actually drop the Infernal here. I'm going to wait in this rift for a second here, too. And pop it now. It's fine. There we go. All right, build some shards here for my Infernal, roughly. Cast this Conflagrate. Hit this. Refresh my Immolate a little early. Put that. There's the Infernal. There's the Trinket. And here we go. Dump all these. Got a Rift refund. Pop that. Sure. About 122k-ish, I think, for Infernal. Forgot my Trinket. Not a big deal. My mouse is dying. Doesn't really matter. I mean, it's ahead by a little bit. AF is about 115k. Destro about 125k, roughly. But damage breakdown-wise, bolts hitting hard. Only 1 point in Burned Ashes here, not 2. If you're playing 2, it's more like, I think, 28 on Bolt, like 27 on Incinerate. Bolt's still a little harder, but we're not playing Chaos Incarnate here. And only playing 1 point in Burned Ashes. As far as rifts are concerned, you've got Flame Rift here at the top, followed by Shadowy Tear, Unstable Tear, and then Chaos Tear. Chaos Tear is the random green portal that fires a Chaos Bolt. It's terrible. Unstable Tear, I believe, is the like purple shadow one. Actually, that's this one here. This is the green one. Probably proc less either way. And this is the big Flame Rift. If you open it up here, so it shows Dimensional Cinders. They fixed Cinders to where they don't double dip on crit, but they can still crit. The way that they work, they calculate the damage, from what I understand, from the Searing Rift. If the Rift crits, it will calculate that damage into like what the actual Cinder does, but it won't count that Cinder as a crit, if that makes sense. So like, let's say if the Rift crits for, if it hits for, you know, 5k roughly, right? The Cinder will hit for, I don't know, a random number, 1,000. If it hits for 10k, the actual Searing Bolt from the Rift here, the Cinder will hit for 2,000, but it'll all be displayed as a normal hit and not a crit. So that's how I understand how it works. I believe it's working that way. Either way, a bit more mobile next patch with rifts and no madness and all that. Pretty close to AF, I'd say, overall. I mean, it ended at 120k, 123k there roughly, but once again, keep in mind, permanent flashpoint. 2-minute damage profile with Infernal versus like larger 2-minute profile with AF, also having CDs every half minute with Soul Rock comparatively to just, you know, 2 minutes, but a flatter, more sustained with Dasher casting bolts every, you know, 5-ish seconds and no madness to worry about. All right, and we finally have Demonology. It's going to be 2 or 3 different builds of Demo here because we have Hatred builds, we have Portal builds, we have Clash Trinket, which we need to talk about a bit here because it hasn't been nerfed over the course of PTR and we're getting towards the end. So the build we're going to play here initially is not Clash Trinket based. It's going to be Pips and Ashes again. We're going to play the Immutable Hatred, Grand Warlock, just single target build. I believe this is the best build now currently in single target. Looking at like later trinkets, like having mirrored until trinkets like, you know, Pips and Ashes on stuff, right? 2 points at Umbra Blaze. We're actually not playing Demonic Knowledge. It's been over nerfed too much. It's just not good. I wish it was better, but it's just been over nerfed. We have no cores, and it's not worth playing anymore, unfortunately. Playing a point in Sunder, a point over here, or 2 in Umbra Blaze, and that is that. 1 in Imperator, no Imp King boss in single target, and besides that, it's basically it. So, an important thing to note on here, I guess head on. So when it comes to Demonology, with like Immutable Hatred, Demonic Cores, all that, Demonic Cores, they affect Immutable Hatred, they affect this technically, you don't play it, it's not very good. They also affect your tier bonus. You apply a Demonic Core with them. I'm going to open up the same way for every demo test here. I'm not going to like, you know, micromanage the initial demon bolts. I'm going to open up normally. Brand's going to fall a little bit initially, but it should leverage out over like the longer, I guess just longer we go for every sim, right? Or I guess test here. Now, without demonic knowledge, you have cores spawning from dogs expiring, you have cores from imps expiring naturally, and you have cores from, I think that's it, right? Oh, siphon, power siphon, sure, right? But besides that, I mean, there's no knowledge anymore to really save you if you, overspend, right? So you want to make sure you're paying attention to Doom Brand on your target here and saving a core if need be to reapply the Doom Brand when you consume the previous one. It's a bit tedious. I'm not a huge fan of it, but with much less cores on our economy, it just what it is what it is. So we're going to open up here by power siphoning with 2 imps out. Perfect. I'm going to cast 2 shadow bolts here. Once again, Brand's going to fall a little bit in the opener. It is what it is. It's fine. I'm doing that on purpose to be more consistent, right? We're going to bolt here to apply Brand. Going to cast dogs here. I'm going to cast 2 shadow bolts here. It may fall in the opener. We'll see what happens. I'm going to bolt here. I'm just going to go hand, not going to drag it out too long. Trinket. We're going to Tyrant. No potion here because I don't really want to potion every time. Brand falls here. I'm going to bolt here because we actually got a refund. RNG is RNG. At times you get some from random things happening, at times you don't. An imp expired from, I believe, Inner Demons there to give me that. But once again, not spending the last core here because our Doom Brand falling now. We don't have many cores in our opener until dogs expire and imps are expiring and all that, right? And Tyrant extends them all. Very important to watch that, right? So we can spend a couple of these. Brand's going to fall after this hand. We can go hand bolt and reapply it, which is sick. There we go. Going to cast dogs here. I'm going to probably actually dump this bolt here because it's fine. We have siphon coming up in a second as well. I'm going to hand. I'm going to hand again here. Going to consume the Brand. Going to cast a bolt. Cast 2 bolts here. We have a lot of cores now. Decent bit of RNG. I've been sitting on siphon for a while, but this is what it is. Gonna start setting up Tyrant. Going to a Vile Fiend. Gonna cast dogs here. And we can just hand cycle this and reapply Brand naturally like that. Hand. Final hand here. Just 9. Not gonna overdo it. It's fine. Gonna strength again. This has actually been pretty lucky when it comes to core refunds. I've been sitting on siphon for a while here. Doesn't usually happen like that. We'll siphon now for our Doom Brand reapplication. Keep casting here. Dog should be expiring in about 10-ish here roughly. This Brand might fall for a little bit, depending on refunds and things. So, got lucky there. There we go. Again, cast a bolt here to get shards. Hand, bolt again to reapply. Hand a little bit. And, I mean, this is just the demonology, right? When you're playing Grand Warlock's design. You have a Tyrant every 1 minute. Every Vile Fiend goes into a Tyrant. There's no, like, weird Vile Fiend in between because it's just, Grand Warlock's design stuff. And that's pretty much it, right? I'm going to siphon here. Cast this. Gonna have more cores in about 8 seconds here. Watching my Tyrant for setup here in about 5-ish seconds. Gonna build a little bit here. Have cores coming in. We're gonna go Grimoire. Gonna go Vile Fiend. Bolt to reapply Brand. A little off dogs. At the end of the world, just work around it. Whatever. Cast dog. Just will bolt. We'll hand. Bolt again. Then go hand. Trinket. Tyrant. I'm gonna strength. And I mean, it's demonology stuff, right? We're sitting at about 124k here, which this is a little bit higher than what I've seen when it comes to like immutable hatred stuff. We got pretty lucky on core refunds and things for like higher Doom Brand uptime and all that. Some pretty good refunds in the opener. All that. About 130k, give or take. I've seen it more around like 120-ish, but I mean, once again, RNG is RNG. We'll stop here and take a look at the breakdown. As far as auras, Doom Brand, 75% uptime. Not bad, about what I've seen roughly. Can be a little higher, around 80-ish, but damage-wise, we have your 4-piece. Where is it at here? There's Doom Brand. There's the volley. Not very good. I've seen it a little higher, actually. Typically around like 4% from volleys and like 3.5 from Doom Brand for about 8% total. Once again, RNG is RNG. Just what it is what it is. My helmet champ procced a bunch, which is sort of wild. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, Umbral Blaze doing about where is it at here? 3.6, a little higher than usual. But for the most part, this is what I've seen for Demo. This build's consistent with Minute Tyrant. Your Vile Fiend doesn't give a damage still. I mean, the Caustic Presence ability has been nerfed, but Caustic Presence is this ability right here. Still a good bit. Your pet, imps, Dreadstalkers, Vile Fiends. Your imps crit a lot too. The crit chance being 39% here when I'm playing Imperator, the talent right here. They changed it from 2 ranks to 1 and buffed the chance from 10 to 15. Actually pretty strong. This build's consistent. It has some peaks and valleys when you cast your Tyrant to your minute, but you're not playing Reign of Tyranny. You're not playing not playing Decon, Reign of Tyranny, right? Your Tyrant did roughly, where is it? I don't even know where it is. I gotta scroll down. Maybe I don't even know where it's at. Where's Tyrant? Where is it? Tyrant, hello? I don't even know where it is. I just can't see anything, obviously. Where's my Tyrant at? It won't scroll down, but it's here in spirit somewhere. I can't scroll down, but there's no tyrant here, right? Am I crazy? No tyrant. It won't scroll down. I'm trying to scroll, it won't scroll. But either way, it's there. He's here in spirit. But you know, there's that. Let's look at the Nether portal build. I found him. He's sitting here below Umbra Blaze. He's real bad, like I mentioned, but you know, he's there for more pet extensions and damage increases, not his baseline damage anymore. So either way, playing Nether portal. Now I'm gonna play Reign of Tyranny here because, well, you know, I mean, it's Nether portal, it's Reign of Tyranny, the old build, why not? Grand Warlock's design and Tyranny. I mean, Grand Warlock's probably a little better here still, either way, but it's a bit awkward with Tyranny. With portal stuff and all that. They're both sort of iffy, honestly, give or take. The thing I want to hit on here is like Nether portal and Pit Lord damage, right? Because Blizzard's buffed, they broke the synergy between like pet extensions from Tyrant with portal, the damage amps, whitelist, blacklist pets, and all that. And they changed Pit Lord. But they're buffing portal pets baseline. They're giving them damage increase from the Resolve's Volition, and the Pit Lord is getting buffed again as well. And I'm afraid that if they keep doing this, Portal will overtake Hatred, because Hatred's not even that great anymore. It's better than Portal still for now, but you're going to create the exact same profile that we had, I guess we have now in retail, with these massive peaks and valleys we've been trying to get rid of for the past few months now. They're in an awkward spot. I don't know what they're going to do, but we're going to look at the damage breakdown here regardless. I don't have to play here. Let's play Grand Warlock's design for this. It's sort of awkward. I don't know if to even play. They're both pretty similar. I mean, let's play Reign of Tyranny. They're both pretty similar. Spoilers ahead, Portal's not as good as Hatred, but I mean, it's more looking at Pit Lord damage and all that, and going from there. Now, I'm not sure what's better if you want to open by just casting like the one-shard Handle Dance or Portal. I think it's probably still a little better, but I'm not 100%. So we're going to open up like usual, Soulburn, Felguard, all that stuff, Violet Fiend, Dogs, some two-shard hands here, and go from there. I could be wrong. I don't know if it's better or worse. Some pop Trinket here, Tyrant, and try and hand twice. I don't know what's better, but either way, Pit Lord spawns, does big damage here. Well, big damage, but he does some damage. The thing is, like, outside of this, you're playing Reign of Tyranny and things. Outside of this, you don't have much damage. We're going to also watch our Doom brands and things, but those peaks and valleys that are around the retail now, they still exist. Pit Lord was here, did about 700k, which is more than I've seen. We had a pretty big opener, to be fair. That's more than I've seen from most Pit Lords. But the problem is that it might seem like a lot in your opener, but you also have 3 minutes until your Pit Lord's back around again. So you're in this odd spot of, all right, well, what do I do now? I'm waiting on my Pit Lord for another 3 minutes. Portal, right? So gonna reapply brand here. We are playing Reign of Tyranny, so we cast Violet Fiend once between each Tyrant, getting max Violet Fiend value, all that kind of stuff. And like I said, the big thing with this build is longevity. The sustained damage, you'll notice, will not be there the longer we go. Proc the Doom Guard here, watching our Doom brands a little bit. Cast some hands here. Should have some cores coming in about 6 seconds here from Dog expiring. Gonna cast that. Reapply a brand about now. And a Strength here as well. Pop this. Also, we're playing Reign of Tyranny, so Grimoire not in the next Tyrant. It's just gonna be cast with Portal. Probably could have held those Dogs, but it's what it is. Reign of Tyranny timing's awkward. Not much really to say there. We're gonna begin setting up right about now. Gonna reapply a brand. Gonna cast our Violet Fiend here. Gonna cast Shadow Bolt. Dog's a little behind. Not a big deal. We'll catch him at some point. It's whatever. I'll bolt here, cast Dogs, and just go hand. It's whatever. I mean, one less imp. Got a refund there. Perfect, even better. Hand, bolt this down, reapply brand. Cast one here. Tyrant's hitting for, I think, like 50k-ish. I can't even really see. But you can, if you notice here in the breakdown now, Pit Lord's fallen a good bit. He's sitting here at 4.5%. Still about a minute off of him, roughly, give or take. And then we're looking at Tyrant. Where is he at? Here at 7%, doing a million damage. To put it into perspective, I cast 2 Pit Lords on Magmarax last week, and they did 7 million damage combined. This one did less than a tenth of that damage, actually. So still pretty nerfed overall. We'll keep going here for a little bit. Cast a Violet Fiend on cooldown because, once again, Reign of Tyranny. Cast some bolts, cast some dogs. You can see here our sustain's a bit lower than the Hatred build. Not by a crazy amount, though. Because once again, Hatred was, I guess, nerfed in a sense due to the change to Demonic Core, and how it works and functions and all that. We have Portal at about 10 here. Tyrant at about half a minute, so keep that in mind. I'm going to hold for a second or two, but Portal's going to be ramping in a second. Apply a Doom Brand again. Cast some more bolts. I'm going to cast these dogs We'll wait a little bit on this. We're a little behind from last Tyrant setup being a little slow, but not a big deal. Cast hand here, reapply brand. Go a little bit here. We have Siphon coming up in a second here, so we're going to do this. We're going to do 2 more Shadow Bolts here. We're going to Siphon, then go into the Portal. Portal, Soulburn, Grimoire, Vile Fiend. Going to cast Dog, got a proc, even better. Cast some hands. Bolt hand. And again, why not? We're going to Trinket. We're going to Tyrant. And we're going to go 2 more hands, because, you know, why not? Cast a Bolt here. 2 bolts to the road, why not? Cast a Strength. And where's our Pit Lord at? He's climbing a little bit here. Where is he? Fellseeker. There he is. He's climbing a little bit. About 123k, 24, 25, roughly. I can cast Dogs here. A bit less than Hatred. Both builds here have pretty good RNG in their openers with, like, refunds or Portal and all that. Still, a little behind Hatred. And looking at how the Tyrant was in the Grand Warlock's Hatred pull, being 3.5% of damage, he's 6% here. So, not a whole lot of a difference. I mean, like, going back to decon days, even like Reign of Tyranny on retail now, like, Tyrant's sitting up here somewhere. He's way over nerfed. He doesn't have much damage at this point. If you like the Tyrant damage profiles, it's not the decon we know, the Reign of Tyranny we know. Pit Lord, still pretty low. This just being when second Pit Lord ended, 4.3%. Pretty subpar as well. Portal is closer to Hatred than it was before. And here is Doombrand, 2-piece, and here's 4-piece. Seems lower than usual, too. I don't know why. Just is what it is. Had a bit lower uptime on Doombrand, but I mean, either way, is what it is. Portal is not as good as Hatred. With recent changes to Hatred, they're closer now. But varying damage profiles, 3 minutes, weird Reign of Tyranny timings, all that kind of stuff. It's a bit awkward. Let's look, though, at Clash Trinket for early progression. Alright, so we are playing an Immutable Hatred Reign of Tyranny build, but I've changed trinkets for this build. I'm actually playing our Clash Trinket from, well, you know, current Aberrus, and I'm playing Balefire Branch. Balefire being a 1.5-minute cooldown. Could have played it for the last build playing Portal and things. Portal also wants like larger cooldowns with Portal and stuff. Also, Mirror from End Time, whatever dungeon came out in 10.1.5 is around next patch. Could be better if you play the Portal build over Ashes of the Ember Soul. We'll see what happens either way, but Balefire from Waycrest is around. 1.5-minute cooldown. Perfect Reign of Tyranny sync. At the same time, Clash Trinket is still around. Reign of Tyranny is still good with Clash Trinket. Tyrant being a cooldown, being a 1.5-minute cooldown means more time to accrue stacks for Clash Trinket and also more power behind your Tyrant. Early on, if they don't nerf Clash Trinkets, you might end up playing like Demo Reign of Tyranny based builds if you have your Clash Trinket compared to Grand Warlock's builds because of the power behind Clash Trinket. They need to nerf them, but they haven't. I haven't done any videos on them, haven't tested with them at all until now because, well, I hope they get nerfed. But we're going into the final weeks of PTR. They haven't been nerfed at all, and we're going to look at it here. Now, one big thing to drive home, like we all know, Clash Trinket is very, very RNG. There are times you have 1,000,000 stacks when you Tyrant and you just nuke the world, and times you have none. And it's like, oh, well, you know, okay, this is the world we live in. At the same time, the Clash Trinket, if you proc a Doomguard with the Clash Trinket, I'm going to just bolt here to apply a brand, it does indeed buff the Doomguard damage. So I've had 7-8 stacks, proc a Tyrant, and done insane damage with Clash Trinket procs with or Doomguard and Tyrant out and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Right here, for example. If I had stacks here in my Clash Trinket and this thing procced, it does indeed increase Doomguard damage. Now our opener here, not going to be incredibly strong because we have no Clash Trinket stacks, same as retail, but for the most part, going to keep applying brands. Same opener there, a bit slow on the brand, but want to keep it consistent across different pulls. Clash Trinkets right here, you can see the stacks that I have. One, hoping to have like 5 or 6 for the next Tyrant to see if we have like, to sort of show the power of Clash Trinket next patch. But either way, like, it's odd playing a Hatred Reign of Tyranny based build. It's a combination of talents we haven't played for the entire expansion, and honestly, it doesn't feel that different from playing Grand Warlock's design because you're still playing Hatred, you're still having like that more, I guess, a bit more semi-consistent damage profile playing Hatred with demonic cores being cast and all that. But your Tyrant, 1.5-minute compared to a minute. So 1 Vile Fiend between each Tyrant, and that's pretty much the gist of it, right? We have 4 stacks here now. Gonna strength on cooldown. Hoping for a little more here. Also hoping for a Doomguard proc with my Clash Trinket being active in a minute here, but we'll see what happens. Gonna bolt here, hand, then bolt again. The reapplied Doombrand. Proc it early, a bit unfortunate, but you know, that's what it is. Going to begin setup here in a second. Gonna cast this. One more shard here. Going to go into a Vile Fiend. Gonna Shadow Bolt here. Cast some dogs. On a bolt here. I don't know, is what it is. Cast this. And probably squeeze another Shadow Bolt or 2 in here. Why not? Sure. Pop this. Tyrant. Watch the damage climb. 118k. A 5 stack of Clash Trinket. No Doomguard proc, unfortunately. No Doom Brand even active. But you still climb a good bit. 126. 127. It's only a 5 stack. 129. Probably 130 here. 131. There you go. It wasn't even a Doomguard proc during it, right? Having the potential... How do I word this? Potentially having access to your early, like, BIS Trinket and Clash Trinket before the tier even opens for a Demo Warlock is going to be really strong, right? If you high roll stacks, you can still nuke the world. If you low roll stacks, like mid-tier roll stacks, it's still decent. If you roll a 10 stack and you Tyrant with a Grimoire and proc a Doomguard during it, I've seen DPS increases of 30-40k, literally. You can high roll things a crazy amount, right? RNG is RNG. But that minute and a half damage profile with Clash Trinket versus a minute being Grand Warlock design based, it's relevant. And being able to say, yo, I have my best Trinket early on for early prog in just Clash Trinket, it's going to matter when it comes to who goes to fights early on in progression, right? We'll see where it goes, if they nerf it or not. But I mean, either way, at this point, things are looking pretty decent for Clash Trinket next year. So if you don't have it, or considering it, might be worth farming it up. We're going to Tyrant one more time here. We have Grimoire basically now. We're going to pop it. Cast Shadow Bolts. I'm just going to play a Brand here actually too. Oh, we have a Brand active. We're fine. We're going to cast Dogs here. And Bolt. And I'm going to go for like a few more Imps here. Why not? But we have a little bit of time. Hand this again. Cast Balefire. Pop this. Caught my Dogs. 13 Imps from the Tyrant. And watch the damage climb. 117, 118, 120, 121, 22, 24, 25, 26. Probably 130 here in a second. And this is a longer test than other cycles we had at Demonology. 132, 133, still climbing. We didn't even proc a Doomguard during any of those Clash Trinket Tyrants, right? It was just, hey, it proc before it. If it procs during that, once again, it buffed the Tyrant damage. So, or the Doomguard damage, I'm sorry. Too many demons running around, but same thing. Damage breakdown, your Tyrant, about 7.5%. About the same as before, maybe a little higher, but that was playing the Reign of Tyranny build, or the portal build of Reign of Tyranny, right? Max 151 here. Doom Bolt Volley from Doom Brands being 4.7. Doom Brand being 3.4. Better RNG, once again, I guess, on procs. I don't know, is what it is. But comparing it to the Immutable Hatred build and the Nether Portal Tyranny build we looked at a minute ago, those are playing 2 new trinkets. This is playing your Clash Trinket from the current tier and playing a Balefire branch from Warcraft Manor. Both a good bit easier to acquire than Pips, which is this right here. Close this out, being a raid-based trinket, and this also being a raid-based trinket. Now this Beloros looks to be strong next tier as well. Also this Nymu's also very strong, but once again, all raid-based trinkets. If you can just farm Waycrest infinitely early on for a Balefire branch and play this thing for early prog, I mean, looks to be pretty decent. But we'll see what Sims hold in a few days. So thanks for watching, guys. It was a fun video to make. I'm looking forward to making it for about a week or so now. I'm not sure how things are going to land next year. I do think that these AF tests and these builds were a little low compared to what I had seen. We low rolled a couple of Doom Bolt Volleys as well for Demo until the final test with Clash Trinket. So once again, it's important to know RNG is RNG. Just because Demo is the highest performing spec here doesn't mean that it's not as good as AF on certain fights. Once again, fights that want more frequent damage amps, like that half-minute Soul Rot window, Gnarl Root, Smolderon, Tindral Shields, depending on timing, could still favor AF more than Demo on certain fights. And while Demo's tier set was nerfed, they're much more in line than where they were a few weeks ago. And Destra, once again, permanent flashpoint. Shadowburn being decent this tier in a handful of fights as well, depending if you play it. So we'll see where it goes. Every lock spec looks good this tier. Not like insane, not Demo Hunter Rogue level of insane right now, but they're also pretty overtuned. So I think it's a pretty solid tier to be a lock. I don't think you're going to see 3 locks mainly encounter for the most part, if tuning stays the way that it is. But 2 locks is, I think is a pretty solid choice, depending where it goes. So let me know what you guys think of the current state of, I guess, Warlock specs in the comment section below. If you have any questions, put them on there as well. I'll do my best to get back to you. Like always, weak wars and us down below. Twitch, Discord links if you want them. They're all for free for you guys. Before we end the video, I want to give a huge shout out again to my patrons. For all supporting Patreon, guys, thank you a million times. Like always, I really appreciate it. If you're looking for early access to the 10.2 Warlock spreadsheet, there's a link up here to Patreon, as well as down below, which the tier 3 fellow rank or higher gets just that. Or if you want support in general. Like I said, I really appreciate it. There is roughly, I would assume, I mean, we got the date today, being the 7th for the patch, which we thought it would be for a long time. The 14th for the raid. Less than a month till the raid opens, which is interesting. And then, I mean, gosh, dude, like 2.5 weeks to fly out to BlizzCon. It's going to be a busy next 2 weeks. I'm excited. Nervous in a sense, but not in a good way. Anxious, I guess is the better way to put it. So we'll see where it goes. A lot to do, but we'll get it done. All that being said, thanks for watching, guys. And I'll catch you all again soon on stream. Peace.